Welcome to the Maverick Paradox podcast, where we explore what it is to be a maverick and discover effective modes of leadership. I am Judith Germain, and my mission is to propel the maverick mindset into a world where character and integrity will ultimately have a higher premium than personality and bureaucracy. If you would like to continue with me, then please subscribe to my podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, or one of the other popular podcast platforms. Today, we will depart from our usual conversation with format to ask how to find your spark and demonstrate your passion. If your spark isn't easy to see, what you do will be of no consequence. There is almost nothing worse in your working life than when you do something that has no meaning. It can be soul destroying to spend hours every week doing something you hate, or worse still, are indifferent to. It can have an impact that not only affects you, but the people around you as well. Doing soul-destroying work that would continue even if you wasn't here to do it isn't the only way to be sparkless around others. For example, when I'm networking, I see many people who hated their corporate job, followed their passion and set up their own business or freelance company. And at the time, they believed that they were going to change the world and that life would be great following their passion. They would work only for the people that they like, and work would fall into their lap. The only problem was that it didn't work out like that, and they are truly at a loss as to why. After all, they are good at what they do, and their service is good, so why aren't people buying? Well, there could be many reasons. However, I would venture to hypothesize that the first thing that impacted their potential sales is that they had lost their visible spark. They may have been to a few networking meetings and were unable to find enough people interested in what they do. They became discouraged, and that showed up in their face and their voice. In my opinion, one of the cardinal sins of networking is when someone is unable to articulate what it is that they do. Not only do they struggle to get to the point, but they either provide a shallow marketing byline that they cannot back up with detail, or they stuff their business proposition with corporate blah blah, lots of meaningless words that discourage the listener from paying attention or understanding what they do. Worse perhaps are those that tell you what they do with dead eyes and a monotone voice. There is no spark in their eyes or delight in their words. It makes you wonder why they bother to get up in the morning. How do they expect anyone to buy what they do, whether this is an idea, a concept, product, or maybe a service? It takes more than fancy words and big ideas to sell what you do. Sometimes I feel like the little kid in the film Sixth Sense. I see dead people. They are all around. You need to light a spark and then fan the flames. Call a tribe and make a difference. Do you know how? Do you have that spark? A spark that others can see? Surely you don't want to be one of those dead people out there. When I see those dead people, I ask them this question. When was the last time you were fulfilled at work? You see, it's an honest question, and one that I wonder how you, the listener, will answer. Take a moment and think about that. You see, I believe that we've become accustomed to not asking this question and cruising through life like it just doesn't matter. Does it matter? I mean, you are paying the bills, raising your family, and you have a good job. You might even be running your own business, doing exactly what you wanted to do when you left corporate life. So, I guess you're happy, aren't you? Think about the question. Really think about it. Are you happy? Do you leap out of bed, your heart singing with a smile on your face? When you think of your work, do you feel joy? No? Yes? Maybe? The Oxford Living Dictionaries tell us that to be fulfilled is to be satisfied or happy because of fully developing one's abilities or character. So being fulfilled is about your own personal development. If I ask the question, are you fulfilled at work? Does this make it a question that is easier to answer? Whenever I make the commute into London to work with clients, I ponder the question of fulfillment. Everywhere I look, I see people who look the very opposite of fulfilled. If you speak to them, they tell you about terrible bosses, unchallenging work, and a desperate longing for the weekend. Work in life shouldn't be like that. When I go networking, I see a similar thing. People that talk about their business or services in a way that is devoid of passion and perhaps a hint of embarrassment. No longing for the weekend, although there is a longing to have people understand what they do. Running a business shouldn't be like that. When our work is meaningful and that work is developing our abilities or who we are, we can become more fulfilled. Not only do we end up doing things that are greater than ourselves, where we are with our career or our business. One of the funny side effects is that when we become fulfilled, joy is easier to obtain. When we are joyful, our ideas are more attractive and we become people that other people want to be around. What we have to sell, whether that is an idea or a service, becomes easier to sell. The other thing is that we all have a need to be fulfilled. How can we be truly successful if we don't develop our abilities or mature our characters? How do we build and show competence to others? Is it possible to have real influence if what you do doesn't bring joy to you? Is real trust possible if we remain unfulfilled? Trust requires not just a positive assessment of character, but also the ability of the other person to show a worthy track record of competence before and after you work with them. Take a serious moment to ponder whether you need to seek fulfillment. If you do, and you want to find it in a non-messing about Maverick way, with a dollop of fun for good measure, then you know where to find me. Seriously though, make sure you have a passion for what you do. It gives real joy to you and others. Find that spark you have and fan the flames. Thank you once again for tuning into the Maverick Paradox podcast. I hope you have enjoyed listening to my thoughts on finding your spark. If you'd like to learn more about Mavericks and leadership, then please subscribe to my podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, or one of the other popular podcast platforms. Find out how willful independence can ultimately change all our futures. The next time I will be with an interesting guest ready to explore the mysteries of leadership. Thanks again, and see you soon.